I'm going to set this camera up the way I like it in order to take just about every picture I need. I use the same setting for 90% of the pictures I take. And before we do that, let me just go ahead and show you a couple of the main dials on the camera. Here you have your exposure compensation. Just make sure this dial is set the way you want to before taking the picture, because it is very easy to accidentally bump this dial. Here we have two dials, the bottom of the two being your ISO setting. Right now mine is set to automatic, and usually I do like to choose my ISO, but for now I'm going to leave that on automatic. And my top dial is the mode dial. This currently is also set to automatic, but I don't like that, so I would highly recommend moving that over to the P mode. This stands for program, and this is actually very similar to the automatic, where it is auto exposure, but I do have control over very important things such as white balance and ISO if I like to change that. Here is your zoom lever. Just pull it to the right in order to zoom in to your subject or bring the subject closer, or push it to the left in order to zoom out or further back from the subject. Down here we have your tripod mount, and here we have the battery and memory card door cover. Go ahead and just press with your thumb down firmly on that and push it out. Here is your battery. Just move that little brown locking mechanism over and the battery will come out. This is a lithium-ion battery. It's actually quite powerful and will last a considerably long time compared to a lot of other digital cameras. I would say you can easily go a whole weekend without recharging, but it will start dying after about 1.5 to 2 years. So take that into consideration, and if you do notice that after about 1.5 to 2 years, it's no longer holding the charge that it used to, you can just go ahead and replace that. The memory card is also right here. Go ahead and press that in order to eject it. This camera does use an SD memory card, and the face of the memory card should be towards the front of the camera. So the little metal contact points are towards the back, and it goes in just like that. Press it all the way in until you hear a click, and then release, and it should stay in. Press the battery door cover against the camera until it's flush, and push it back to lock it. Let's go ahead and turn the camera on. Now with this camera you have two menus. You have a main menu, which I pretty much just set up once and leave it that way, and the function menu, which hosts a list of items that I need to access much more frequently. Let's go ahead and go into the function menu. Just press the function button right here in the center. Here is the function menu, and because I'm in the program mode, I do have access to my white balance and a few other settings that I would not have access to had I been in the automatic mode. Let's go ahead and go down. You can use your navigation buttons right here to move up and down. This here is your down navigation button. The MF is your up navigation button. Here is the right navigation button and the left navigation button. Now you can also just use the up and down navigation buttons, and within each menu item you can use this wheel to move the selection over. So in the white balance currently, by default it is set to auto white balance, but I want to set this to the white balance that suits my needs. So I'm going to change this to fluorescent, and this best suits my current needs. I would highly recommend not using the auto white balance. It is pretty close to daylight, but it is not good enough for indoor use if you have fluorescent or tungsten as your light source. Let's go ahead and go down to image quality. Image quality by default is set to fine, and this is okay, but it is not the highest quality the camera can produce. So I'm going to choose superfine. Again, I'll just press the left navigation button. With superfine, the number of pictures that I can take on any given card does drop. However, the image quality is better, and I'm willing to sacrifice those pictures. This is the camera's resolution. By default, it is set to large. This is the highest resolution the camera can produce, and this is usually what I choose. I can always reduce the resolution in the computer later on, but I like to take advantage of the full resolution just in case I do get a picture that I want to print very big and put on the wall. I would recommend choosing a lower resolution if you need to take more pictures on the memory card, as opposed to reducing the image quality. So keep that image quality high and reduce the resolution, especially if you know these are pictures that you're just going to look at on your computer screen or send via email or anything like that. The RAW option is also something that I pretty much never use. The file is very large. You can see here now I can only take 38 pictures. If you want to know more about the difference between RAW and JPEG, go to the glossary section at lbguides.com. I'm going to stick to the large resolution and the superfine quality. Go ahead and press Function to escape the function menu. Press the main menu button here to access the main menu. So I'm going to go down. Digital zoom is currently set to standard. This is the default, and I'm not happy with that because I don't even want to accidentally access this mode. This is going to significantly decrease the image quality, and I can crop the image later in the computer and end up with much better results. So I'm going to just press the right navigation button to turn this off. Go down to Flash Control. I'm going to press Set to access that submenu. Go down all the way, and right here my red eye lamp is turned on, and this is something that I want to turn off. I don't want to use the red eye lamp, mainly because it actually doesn't seem to help at all. Red eye correction, however, as you can see by default, is turned off, and this is something that is very debatable. You can turn it on, and it actually will help with the red eye, but it will take a little bit longer to process those images. So in my case, I'm going to leave that off as well. And lastly is the safety flash exposure. This is something that by default is turned on, but I'd like to have the control over this, so I'm going to turn it off. Press Menu to go back to the main menu, and we'll keep going down. Custom display is something that I like setting up because I want to see the information, but I don't necessarily want to see all the information. So I'm going to press Set, and I'm going to choose to show the shooting information. I'm also going to choose the 3x2 guide. This is something that I can ignore, but it's handy so I don't have to come back in here again. Go ahead and press Menu to escape. At the very bottom, I have this Set Shortcut button option, and this allows me to set this here shortcut button to access different features of the camera. And I like this very much. I can press the Set button here to access this. I need to use the white balance very frequently, so I like this to be set to white balance. And as opposed to going into the function menu to access white balance, I just press my shortcut button and set that very quickly. Press Set, and that's it. Now I'm going to go over to the Setup menu. I can either go all the way back up to the Record tab and then move over. I can go all the way down because I am at the very bottom of the list and then move over, or I can just use my zoom lever, pull it to the right, and the Setup tab is highlighted. I'm going to go into Volume, press Set. I don't need a startup volume, turn that off. I don't need the operation volume. I'm going to turn that off. The others may be helpful, so I'm going to leave those on. Just press Menu to go back. It's very important to set your date and time. Make sure this is set. Your image organizing applications use this information to organize the pictures, so set that information. It is very, very important. And everything else is really set up just fine. Down here is a Reset All. If by chance anything does get set up in a way that you're not familiar and you're not sure how to set it back, you can always come here to Reset All and click Set and change that back to the factory default. Go ahead and press Menu. Now, since I set up my custom display, I can see all the information that the camera is currently set up to. You can see here my white balance is set to fluorescent as I set it. My ISO is currently set to auto, and my flash is turned off. And all this is very important. I want to know how many pictures I have left as well. And my focusing square is in the center the way I like it. To find out much more about digital photography and your digital camera, go to lbguides.com.